Have you ever felt an itch and brushed it off as nothing more than a passing nuisance? An innocent little irritation gone as quickly as it came? But what if that itch was more than just a fleeting discomfort? What if it was your body's way of whispering, no, warning you about something lurking beneath the surface? It's easy to dismiss an itch. A little scratch, a quick rub, and we move on with our day, rarely giving it a second thought. But what if that persistent, unrelenting itch was your body's way of signaling that something isn't quite right? Something you can't see but should never ignore. Today we're unraveling the mystery behind itching. Not just any itching, but the kind that happens in very specific areas of your body. The kind that refuses to go away, no matter what you do. Because in some cases, it isn't just dry skin, an allergy, or a harmless irritation. It's a warning sign, a distress signal from your body that something far more serious might be going on. There are 3 critical areas where persistent itching could be a red flag for serious health conditions. Conditions that, if caught early, could mean the difference between timely treatment and irreversible damage. Your body is always speaking to you, and today, you're going to learn how to truly listen. Let's start with one of the most overlooked yet telling signs: itchy hands and feet. Most of us have experienced itchy palms or tingling feet at some point. It's annoying, yes, but usually harmless. Maybe you think it's just dry skin, a change in weather, or even a mild reaction to something you touched. But what if I told you that persistent itching in these areas, especially when there's no visible rash or irritation, could be one of the earliest signs of diabetes? Yes, diabetes. The condition that affects millions worldwide, often without them realizing it until the damage is already done. When blood sugar levels rise beyond normal, the body becomes dehydrated, and one of the first places it shows is in the skin. This dehydration leads to excessive dryness, making your skin feel rough, cracked, and, most of all, itchy. But it doesn't stop there. High blood sugar also slows down circulation, cutting off the proper flow of oxygen and nutrients to the skin. And where does this lack of circulation affect the most? The extremities, the hands and feet. Without adequate blood flow, these areas become dry, irritated, and incredibly itchy. And no matter how much lotion you apply, no matter how much you scratch, the itch lingers. And then comes the real danger: nerve damage. Diabetes doesn't just affect the blood, it attacks the nerves as well. This leads to a condition called diabetic neuropathy, where the nerves in your hands and feet misfire, creating a never-ending cycle of discomfort. The itching you feel isn't just superficial, it's coming from deep within, a malfunction of your nerve signals. Imagine your skin constantly feeling like it's crawling, tingling, itching with no relief. You scratch and scratch, but the sensation only worsens. And worse still, those small scratches turn into wounds. For most people, a tiny cut or scratch isn't a big deal, but for someone with diabetes, even a minor injury can become a serious infection. The body's ability to heal slows down, leaving wounds open and vulnerable. In severe cases, untreated wounds lead to ulcers, infections, and in the most devastating circumstances, amputations. Yes, you heard that right. What started as a simple itch, if ignored, can spiral into a life-altering condition. But diabetes isn't the only hidden culprit behind itchy hands and feet. There's another silent threat, one that many people don't even know exists until it's too late: liver disease. Specifically, a condition called biliary cirrhosis, a progressive disease that slowly destroys the bile ducts in your liver. And one of its first warning signs? You guessed it, intense itching, particularly in the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. Unlike diabetes, this type of itching tends to worsen at night, making sleep nearly impossible. It's relentless, deep, and doesn't respond to regular treatments or moisturizers. If left unchecked, biliary cirrhosis leads to severe liver damage, dark urine, extreme fatigue, and a gradual decline in overall health. Now imagine this scenario. You've been struggling with itchy hands and feet for weeks, maybe even months. You've tried creams, home remedies, but nothing works. And then one day, other symptoms start creeping in. You feel more tired than usual, your eyes seem drier, and something just feels off. Would you connect the dots? Would you realize that your body has been trying to warn you all along, Far too many people ignore these early signs, chalking them up to just dry skin or nothing serious. But by the time they seek medical help, the damage is already underway. The truth is, your body never sends signals without reason. Persistent itching, especially in specific areas, is a message, one that you cannot afford to ignore. So what should you do if you've been experiencing this type of itching? First and foremost, pay attention to the patterns. Does the itching persist even after treating it? Do you notice other symptoms creeping in, like fatigue, changes in your skin, or an unexplained feeling of discomfort? If so, it's time to seek medical advice. A simple blood test can reveal whether your blood sugar levels are off, or if your liver is struggling. Your health is not something to gamble with. Every little sign your body gives you is a clue, a warning that could help you catch serious conditions before they take hold. And now let's talk about something even more unexpected. Itchy eyes. At first it seems harmless. Maybe it's allergies. Maybe it's just a bit of irritation from the weather. But what if itchy eyes were another subtle yet crucial sign that something is wrong? Not with your eyes, but with your liver. Most people don't realize the direct connection between their liver and their eyes. The liver plays a massive role in filtering out toxins from the body. But when it struggles, when it's overloaded or failing, those toxins begin to build up in your system. And one of the first places they show up? Your eyes. The result? Persistent, unexplained itching that no eye drops can fix. Your eyes feel dry, irritated, as if something is constantly aggravating them. And over time, other symptoms emerge: fatigue, yellowing in the whites of the eyes, and an overall feeling of sluggishness. The reality is, the liver and the eyes are deeply connected. In traditional Chinese medicine, there's a saying, "The liver opens into the eyes." This means that whatever happens to the liver will often show up in the eyes first. When the liver is overwhelmed with toxins, it affects the delicate capillaries in the eyes, leading to discomfort, dryness, and itching. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a sign, a red flag that your liver is struggling and needs help. But how many of us stop to think about this? How many of us connect the dots between our itchy eyes and our liver health? Your body is always speaking to you. Every sensation, every itch, every strange feeling, it's all part of a bigger picture. The question is, are you listening? Think about the last time your eyes felt irritated, dry, itchy, maybe even burning. You probably assumed it was allergies, a bit of dust, or just the result of staring at screens for too long. But what if I told you that this seemingly minor annoyance could be your body's way of revealing a much bigger issue? A warning sign that your liver is in distress. The liver is your body's ultimate detoxifier, working around the clock to filter out toxins, break down harmful substances, and keep everything running smoothly. But when it starts to struggle, when it's overloaded, inflamed, or damaged, those toxins don't just disappear. They start to build up in your system, seeping into your bloodstream and affecting organs in ways you wouldn't expect. And one of the first places this toxic overload manifests is in your eyes. You see, when the liver fails to properly process bile, waste products accumulate, irritating the sensitive capillaries in your eyes. This is why people with liver disease often experience persistent, unexplained eye itching, an itch that isn't soothed by eye drops or antihistamines. It's deep, relentless, and no amount of rubbing brings relief. It's as if your body is screaming for help, but you don't yet realize what it's trying to say. And it doesn't stop at itching. Over time, as the liver becomes more compromised, you might notice a yellowish tint in the whites of your eyes, a condition called jaundice. That yellowing happens because of bilirubin, a substance that the liver is supposed to filter out. But when the liver is failing, bilirubin builds up in your body, and your eyes are the first place it becomes visible. Now imagine this. You've been dealing with itchy eyes for weeks. No matter how much you rest, no matter how many eye drops you use, the discomfort won't go away. Then one day, you glance in the mirror and notice a subtle yellowish hue creeping into the whites of your eyes. At first, you convince yourself it's the lighting, or maybe you're just tired. But deep down, something doesn't feel right. By the time jaundice sets in, liver damage has often already begun. And if left unchecked, it can progress into conditions like cirrhosis or even liver failure. conditions that can have devastating consequences. But what if you could catch it sooner? What if your body was already warning you through the itchiness, through the discomfort, giving you a chance to intervene before things got worse? At some point in life, almost everyone experiences itchy skin on their chest. A change in detergent, dry weather, a snug bra. There are countless harmless reasons why the skin in that area might itch. But what if the itching is deeper? What if it doesn't go away, and no amount of lotion, no change in fabric, makes a difference? It's time to talk about something that far too many people overlook: inflammatory breast cancer. Unlike traditional breast cancer, which typically presents as a lump, inflammatory breast cancer doesn't form a noticeable mass. Instead, it begins with changes in the skin, redness, swelling, and yes, persistent itching. It's sneaky, aggressive, and often misdiagnosed at first because it doesn't look like what most people expect breast cancer to look like. For many women, the first sign isn't pain. It's an itch that starts subtly but soon becomes impossible to ignore. And as time passes, other symptoms appear: a feeling of warmth in the breast, a thickening of the skin that resembles an orange peel, and a deep, unexplained discomfort. And here's what makes this condition so dangerous: it moves fast. Unlike other breast cancers that develop slowly over years, inflammatory breast cancer can progress in weeks or months. That means the window for early detection is much smaller, and by the time many women seek medical attention, the disease has already spread to nearby lymph nodes. Now imagine a woman noticing a strange itch in her breast. It's annoying, yes, but nothing she's too concerned about. She scratches absent-mindedly throughout the day, convinced it's just dry skin or maybe irritation from her bra. A few weeks go by, and the itching gets worse. She starts noticing redness, a little swelling, but again she brushes it off. And then, one day, she catches her reflection and realizes something is different. The skin on her breast looks rough, thicker, like the texture of an orange peel. It's only then that she starts to worry, but by that point, the cancer has already started to spread. This is why itching should never be ignored, especially when it's accompanied by changes in the skin, swelling, or warmth. It's easy to dismiss an itch, to delay that doctor's visit because it's probably nothing. But with inflammatory breast cancer, waiting can mean the difference between early treatment and a much harder battle ahead. So what can you do? How do you know when itching is just itching and when it's something more? The key is persistence. If an itch lingers for weeks, despite moisturizing, despite changing clothes, despite doing everything you normally would to relieve it, pay attention. If it's accompanied by visible skin changes, tenderness, or swelling, take action. The best thing you can do is check your breasts regularly, not just for lumps, but for any unusual changes. Redness, thickening skin, and even minor discomfort can be early clues that something isn't right. And if you notice any of these signs, don't hesitate. Schedule a checkup. It's always better to investigate a false alarm than to catch a real problem too late. Think about all the times you've ignored an itch, thinking it was nothing. What if one of those times it was actually something more? Your body has a language of its own. It doesn't always scream when something is wrong. Sometimes it just whispers. A small itch here, a little discomfort there. The question is, are you listening? Because when it comes to your health, the smallest signs can be the most important ones of all. Imagine this. You wake up in the middle of the night, your chest itching relentlessly. You scratch absent-mindedly, thinking maybe it's just the fabric of your nightwear or the detergent you used. But night after night, the itching continues. No lotion, no change in clothing, nothing seems to make it go away. It's just there, persistent, nagging, almost as if it's trying to tell you something. For most people, itching is easy to dismiss, a minor irritation, a passing discomfort. But when it doesn't go away, when it lingers, deepens, and becomes impossible to ignore, it's time to start asking questions. Because sometimes what seems small on the surface is actually the first warning sign of something much bigger. Inflammatory breast cancer is one of the most aggressive forms of breast cancer, yet it doesn't begin with the classic symptoms that most people associate with the disease. There's no noticeable lump, no hard mass that you can feel beneath your skin. Instead, it starts subtly: an itch, a bit of warmth, a faint redness that could easily be mistaken for a rash. And that's what makes it so dangerous. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't make you immediately think, this could be cancer. Instead, it sneaks in, slowly changing the texture of the skin, making the breast feel swollen, thickened, sometimes even bruised. And before you know it, the itching isn't the only symptom. You start noticing small, swollen nodes under your arm, tenderness that wasn't there before, a heaviness in your breast that feels unfamiliar. The most terrifying thing? It moves fast. Unlike other breast cancers that can take years to develop, inflammatory breast cancer spreads within weeks, sometimes even days. That means the difference between early detection and a late-stage diagnosis can come down to how soon you take action. Think about it. How many times have you ignored a small health issue because it didn't seem serious? A nagging cough, a persistent headache, a bit of unexplained fatigue. We convince ourselves that we're just overreacting, that it's probably nothing. But in the case of something as aggressive as inflammatory breast cancer, waiting is the biggest risk you can take. So what can you do? How can you tell if an itch is something to worry about or just an everyday irritation? The key is in the pattern. Normal itching, like from dry skin or mild allergies, tends to come and go. It's relieved with moisturizer, antihistamines, or a bit of care. But an itch that's linked to something more serious won't go away. It intensifies, it lingers, and more symptoms start to appear alongside it. If you notice redness, swelling, thickening skin, or tenderness, don't ignore it. Act. Your health is not something to take lightly. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, schedule a checkup. It could be nothing. But if it is something, catching it early could save your life. Now let's talk about something even more unexpected. An itch that starts in places most people would never think to associate with a serious illness: the lower legs and back. When we think of itching, we usually picture dry skin, an insect bite, or an allergic reaction. But sometimes, persistent itching in the lower legs or back can be one of the earliest signs of kidney disease. Yes, kidney disease. A condition that develops silently, often with no symptoms in its early stages. By the time most people realize something is wrong, the kidneys have already suffered significant damage. But what if your body was trying to warn you long before that happened? The kidneys play a crucial role in filtering waste and excess fluids from the blood. But when they start to fail, toxins build up in the body, affecting the skin in ways that most people don't realize. One of the earliest and most overlooked signs: a deep, relentless itching sensation that won't go away. Unlike regular skin dryness, this type of itching doesn't come with a rash or any visible irritation. The skin looks normal, but beneath the surface something is off. It feels almost internal, as if no amount of scratching can truly reach the source. And it's often worse at night, keeping you awake, making you restless, and disrupting your sleep. Why does this happen? Because when the kidneys struggle to filter waste, certain toxins, like urea and phosphorus, build up in the bloodstream. These toxins irritate the nerve endings in the skin, creating an itching sensation that doesn't respond to typical treatments. No amount of lotion, antihistamines, or cold compresses seem to make a difference, because the problem isn't in the skin, it's in the blood. And that's just the beginning. As kidney function declines, other symptoms start to creep in: fatigue, swelling in the legs and ankles, changes in urination patterns, and even a metallic taste in the mouth. But the itching, that's often one of the first warnings, a subtle clue that something deeper is happening inside your body. Now imagine someone experiencing this kind of itching. They try different creams, different soaps, different home remedies, but nothing helps. It persists, night after night, week after week. They brush it off, thinking it's just a passing irritation, but all the while their kidneys are silently struggling, filtering less and less waste, pushing their body closer to a health crisis. If only they had listened sooner. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? That a simple itch could be a life-saving signal, if only we paid attention to it. This is why awareness is everything. Your body doesn't send signals for no reason. It doesn't randomly decide to make your skin itch, your hands tingle, your eyes burn. Every sensation you feel is a message, and it's up to you to interpret it before it's too late. So the next time you experience persistent, unexplained itching, especially in places like your hands, feet, eyes, breasts, or lower legs, don't just ignore it. Listen to what your body is telling you. Look for patterns, notice if other symptoms are developing, and most importantly, don't wait. Because early detection always gives you an advantage, and in some cases, it could mean the difference between life and death. Your body is always speaking to you. The question is, are you listening? Imagine being given a chance to stop something terrible before it happens. Imagine your body trying to warn you, sending out signals, whispering hints, hoping you'll notice before it's too late. But what if you didn't? What if you ignored the signs, brushed them off as nothing, and only realized the truth when it was too late to change the outcome? This is the reality for countless people who experience persistent itching, only to discover, far too late, that their body had been trying to warn them all along. Because the truth is, itching isn't always just itching. Sometimes it's a silent scream from within, a desperate attempt to grab your attention before real damage takes hold. We've talked about how itchy hands and feet can be linked to diabetes and liver disease. We've uncovered how itchy eyes could be an early warning sign of toxic buildup in the liver. We've explored how breast itching could be one of the first red flags of inflammatory breast cancer. And we've seen how itching in the lower legs and back could signal kidney disease. But there's one more thing we need to discuss, something just as alarming, just as crucial to recognize. Itchy skin all over the body. Not in one particular place, not just the hands, the feet, the eyes, or the chest, but everywhere. A deep, relentless itching that seems to come from beneath the skin itself. The kind that won't go away, no matter what you do. And when that happens, the culprit is often something far more insidious than just dry skin. Lymphoma. Yes, cancer of the lymphatic system, the network of nodes and vessels that helps fight infection and filter out toxins. And one of the earliest, most overlooked symptoms of lymphoma is persistent, unexplained itching that spreads across the body. Why does this happen? It's because lymphoma alters the immune system. When cancerous cells begin to grow within the lymph nodes, they interfere with the normal immune response. This disruption triggers the release of inflammatory chemicals, substances that affect the nerves under your skin, causing a maddening, unstoppable itch. At first, it might seem like nothing. A mild irritation, a strange sensation that comes and goes. But as time passes, the itching intensifies. It becomes deeper, more frustrating. And unlike common rashes or allergic reactions, there's no visible cause. The skin looks normal, no hives, no redness, nothing to suggest why the itching is happening. And then other symptoms begin to appear. Unexplained weight loss, a sudden drop in energy, night sweats so severe that you wake up drenched. The kind of signs that people often chalk up to stress, aging, or simple exhaustion. But in reality, they could be pointing to something far more serious. Now imagine someone experiencing this. They wake up every night scratching, feeling restless, wondering why their body won't let them sleep. They think it's nothing, maybe just dry skin. Maybe they need to drink more water. Days turn into weeks, then months. The itching persists, growing worse, more unbearable. And still they ignore it. Until one day they notice something else. A lump, a swollen lymph node, something small, barely noticeable at first, hidden beneath the skin. And only then does the realization set in. This wasn't just an itch, this was a warning. And they didn't listen soon enough. Lymphoma, like inflammatory breast cancer, is an aggressive disease. But if caught early, the chances of successful treatment are far, far higher. The problem is that most people don't recognize the signs soon enough. They dismiss them, assume they'll go away, and by the time they take action, the disease has already progressed. But what if they had known? What if they had recognized that first warning sign, the persistent, unexplained itching that no lotion, no home remedy, no prescription could fix? It's not about fear. It's about awareness. Because your body is always speaking to you. It's always trying to protect you, sending out signals, hoping you'll pay attention before it's too late. The problem isn't that the body doesn't warn us, it's that we don't listen. So now that you know, what will you do with this information? Will you be more aware of the signs? Will you listen when your body tries to tell you something? Will you take action before small problems turn into life-threatening ones? The truth is, most diseases don't appear out of nowhere. They start with small hints, tiny warnings, an itch here, a discomfort there. And if you learn to listen, if you learn to recognize these whispers before they turn into screams, you could save your own life. So the next time you feel a persistent, unexplained itch, don't just scratch and forget about it. Pay attention, because your body never speaks without reason, and sometimes the smallest signs can be the most important ones of all.